So new data, new possibilities. I'm Jonas Bieri from Open Data Basel-Stadt, and I hope you can really see me now. Yes, so okay, that should work out. Yeah, just tell me if it's not working. New data, new possibilities. So TLDR, too long, I didn't read. For those of you who are really in a hurry, who want to have a quick grasp of what I'm talking about today, it's this URL. Go to data.bs.ch, and there you will see all the open data, open government data of Basel-Stadt. This is our data portal. Look there and see what's there. That's the cool thing about it. For those who have a little bit more time, you can go to databs.ch. On home, you will see this nice picture and our Twitter feed here. We have 107 data sets. That's what you see if you click on data. You can filter the data sets here by view, by modification date, by publisher. You can sort the data sets, how they are shown in this filter search view, by popularity, by modification data, whatever. Then you can go ahead and click on one of those data sets, and you will see what we want to see. What we want to show you when you click on a data set is the data. So first thing you see is the data, these nice tables that are interactive. You can sort by the different columns here, and you can filter using these nice filtering. I'm going to show you afterwards. If you don't have time, this is the gist of the whole talk here. Then we have interactive visualizations. It's not only just tables here, raw tables, but for example here, these are fine dust particle measurements on the trams in Basel. And every minute we had these measurements taken, and this is a nice interactive visualization. I'm going to show this later on in the demo. A very nice one. Boris has just created this a couple of days ago for us. There's not only nice table view and interactive visualizations, there's also the data. You know, you've seen the data, you've seen the table, but you can also download the data here in different file formats, in CSV, in JSON, in Excel, in GeoJSON, as a shape file, and they're all open. So this dataset, for example, has the Creative Commons by license, so you can use it. Just say in your publication if you use it, or in your app where it's from, and then that's fine. Then we also have API that's here. You can put together your API call using this nice user interface, or you can just do it like a real programmer and just use the command line. Good. That was a very short TLDR. Too long didn't read. If you will have a bit more time, just two more things here. So we have this data site, data.bs.ch. We have tables, API charts, and everything is interactive. What kind of data do we have there? We have 107 data sets as of now. We have real-time data. For example, we have smart climate sensors. I'm going to talk about this afterwards. We have parking lots that are updated every minute. These are updated every couple of, I don't know, 2-3 minutes or so. You'll see that. Then we have other data with geographical context in near real time. For example, we have the littering data set. So in Basel, whenever there's litter, somebody puts his trash bin somewhere that is at the wrong moment or at the wrong space, then this is of course tracked, and you will see that twice daily. Then we have data sets that are updated daily about temporary construction, about markets. Currently, there are not too many markets because of the pandemic, but there's many other data sets with geographic context that are near real-time updated. Then we have another big group of data sets that are statistical time series. For example, we have a couple of data sets, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, I don't know by heart, about coronavirus data. See, these are the official data sets by Basel-Stadt. For example, the number of cases that are daily updated. We have the number of hospitalizations, the number of deceased, and many more data sets. Also specific test results. So there's everything is there. Then we have another time series about empty apartments in Basel-Stadt, about the price index in Basel-Stadt, about daily births and daily deaths, and more and more. And there are more data sets coming up. For example, I don't know, last Sunday or the week before, we had the plebiscite, the Abstimmung, and the results that were in near real time. We had them up there. Also the Zwischen results, how do you say? Not the final results, but the ones that can be published at 12 o'clock. they were also there. Then we have another big groups with nice other data sets. For example, we have police fines and tickets. You can see more or less where and when, who paid, not who, but that people paid a ticket, a police ticket, and why they paid it. That's a really nice data set, and we had a great echo. There were some journalists writing about this data set. It's really great. Have a look into it. Then cool data sets I'm going to talk about afterwards is a huge data set of measured vehicle speeds that are measured with radars and some air pollutants data and so on. Good, that's the TLDR, and that was about, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. If you want to know who we are, what we do, and why we do this, you can have a look at our second website. So this is kind of the metadata website. opendata.bsch describes our organization, who we are, what we do, why we do it. And this is a data website that talks about or contains the data of Basel-Stadt. Good. For the ones who don't have time, thank you and bye. See you next time. And for the ones who have time, we're going to go into a bit more detail who we are. We are two Jonases. This is me, I'm the technical guy, and Jonas Eckenfels is more the consulting, compliance, and law guy. And then we have Boris, our scientific intern, who does most of the daily work today. Great, we are very thankful for the help here. Thanks, Boris. So what do? We do publish Basel-Stadt data under an open license. That's our job. Why do we do that? Because we have to. The government has decided that data is open government data by default. Of course, there are certain restrictions. If data can be used to identify a person, then this cannot be open government data. And there are some other restrictions, for example, I don't know, secrets, trade secrets, political secrets that would be, or military secrets. These, of course, cannot be open government data, but the default is that data is open government data. And this was the decision that the government had. So we have to help people in the government to publish their data in machine readable and open formats under an open license. And yeah, the canton government has decided this in the beginning of 2019. So we've been working since then hard, and yeah, it's been big fun, but we are nowhere near finished. So this is an ongoing thing, of course. Good. So the talk is about new data, new possibilities. Let's look at new data. First, let's look at vehicle speeds. So this is the link here. It's called Geschwindigkeitsmonitoring in German. So that's a monitoring of vehicle speeds. It's a huge data set. Takes a couple of seconds here to tell you that it's 12.5 million records. This is an interactive table now. You can sort very fast. So we have timestamps from 2017 to March 12, which is like 6 days ago. Then we have an ID for each Messung and a direction for each measurement. And then we have that's the important thing here, the speed of the measured vehicle and when this was measured. Then very important, what's the zone? So what's the maximum allowed speed that in this measured zone here, for example, the third one, it was measured 45, but in a 30 zone. So in this case, this is just for statistics. So these are not the police monitors that actually create a photo and send you a bill home, but these are just these small gray boxes that are attached to like the lamp pole at the street, and they stay there for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks until the batteries run out, and they just measure all the different vehicles running through. And this data is then published here openly, and it's also internally used by the police to determine where these other, the ones that actually flash you and create a picture and send you a bill home, where these should be put. So this is a great data set. I really love it. It's huge, but it's very usable. So on the left side, we see we can filter. For example, we can dive in and filter only 2021 from March, so only the latest ones. And here, let's sort by speed. That's the slowest, probably these were people walking by. And the fastest, okay, this is 103 kilometers per hour in a 50 zone. That's probably a bad thing here. But be rest assured, this is these are raw data, so there are no corrections here. These are raw data, so this may well be that this is like a mismeasurement. No problem here. This can all happen. We don't know this. It's just up there in the open. There are no the police themselves. They go over this and interpret this if this is a good measurement or not. But this data is not published then afterwards. Good. Let's look at the highest speed that we've measured overall since 2017. That's 187 kilometers. Not too long ago, in the afternoon, in February. Where was it? February 15. Where was it? At Vogesenplatz. And here we have this harbor. You can actually see it on the map. Vogesenstraße here. That's a bad thing. I hope this is a measurement error. Then we have these numbers here. Übertretungsquote. This means the number of people or of vehicles that were over the speed limit at this place during the whole measurement. A measurement is not one row here, but it's a measurement here, this measurement ID 340. Let's look at what this means. If you go to information, everything is explained a bit more. And let's go to the other data set, which is this data per measurement. So we want to know a bit more about number 340. That was this one. So this started, so the box was put there on February 8 and stayed there until February 18 at the Volterstraße in a 50-kilometer speed zone. And there are two directions, one in direction of Drei-Rosenbrücke. And here we had 60,000 vehicles measured. So we have 60,000 rows in the other data set here in this one, 60,000 in this direction. Then we have another number that's the median. So the median speed, the 50th percentile in this direction, it's actually below. So this is 50 kilometer per hour zone, and the median is actually below. And the other one in the other direction is a bit above. No, actually that's wrong. This is the 85th percentile. It's still pretty holy. So we have only 4% of people who speeded here. In the other direction, we have even lower median speed. That's very nice here. So very low number or percentage of people or of vehicles going over the speed limit there. So here you can use these data, and all in all, how many do we have? How many measurements? 334 of these measurements that lasted a couple of weeks. And these resulted in 12.5 million single vehicles being measured there. Cool. So you can export this data, or you can use the API and do whatever you want with it. You can create a visualization or a statistic, or go ahead and ask your own questions to answer them with this one. Good. That was the first data set. I really love it. The second one, that's even better actually. That's the fine dust measured on trams here in German. What's going on here? We have 933,000 records. The point here is, that's also described here, the BVB, the Basel Verkehrsbetriebe, who runs the trams in Basel, they put these sensors, these fine dust sensors on top of their trams while they were circulating the city. So let's look at an interactive visualization that we've seen a screenshot before. Here, that's what Boris did during the last couple of days. Such a great work. Thank you very much, Boris. Here you can change, or actually you can select which sensor you want to look at. Let's select this one, 228. And then here you can say for which day or which period you want to look at the data. Let's use this day. That's the last day of the year. So if you know geography in Basel, this is probably line 6 going from Allschwil over Morgarten Ring. And here, I don't know what's going on here. So this is not usually line of Basel, of the 6, but maybe there was some detour. I don't know what went on here. Cool thing here is we have the colors. They denote how much of this fine dust was in the air, like you would do yourself, and you can really look at what's going on here. We have one measurement per minute. You can click on the point and see when exactly this was. That was 3:36. We have this number of PM25 and this number of PM10, and couple of minutes later or earlier, we see there. It's really cool data set. So what's going on here at Morgartenring? I don't know, where are you guys from? I used to live in Allschwil, so I know that here in Morgartenring, and you also see it if you zoom in here, this looks like a tram depot, or we can change here to a different map, a base map, and we see, yes, this is probably a tram depot. Here the trams, here they come in and they stay here overnight. So let's just filter out this data here. Can we do this? Yes, of course we can do this. We select this data and then we see when was that. If we scroll down here, we see the average measurements of PM25 and the maximum and the minimum. And of course, when we go over them, we see the time and date. So this was between 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, between 12 and 6 in the morning. So very cool. We can geographically filter this data and see what's going on there. So that was just a rest hour for the tram here. So very cool with visualization. We can also change the period in which we want to look at the data and so on. I definitely urge you to look into this and create your own stories, ask your own questions and see what's going on there. Such a cool data set. Good. Third data set I want to talk about is smart climate sensor network. So if you look at the information tab here, we have two data sets here. One is the real measurements here. We see, okay, here at this name, we see that there was the air temperature was today at 6:09, 4.4 degrees Celsius. We have no rain in the last hour. We had 7.2 millimeters of rain in the last 24 hours and 22 millimeters in the last 48 hours. And these are the coordinates of the station. Let it load here. It's a bit slow. Sorry for that. And we can also go to the second data set, which just shows us where these measurements are taken. So we have 230 of these stations. Let's look at the map. Some of them have their coordinates not put in nicely, and that's why they look as if they would be in Africa, but it's just if you do X and Y coordinates the wrong way around, then they look as if it would be in Africa. But let's zoom in, go to Switzerland, go to Basel, and then we see it's not only Basel, it's a huge network of over 200 stations around Basel area and also in Basel-Land and in Germany, close to the border. You can click on them, you see where it is, since when we have the values, and we also have a link here to MeteoBlue. MeteoBlue is the company who actually pays and set up these smart city, they're called the smart city climate stations. And if you zoom in here, they look like this. So the chances are high that you have seen those around your neighborhood. I know some people, they have some of those in front of their house. So they check on the internet, what's the temperature outside and what the rain was. So here we have the same data, the historical data that we also have in our data portal. On MeteoBlue, the company, they also calculate how the weather's going to be based on this hyperlocal data. So you can check how the weather's going to be at this station around your own house, and also some statistics here. So there's lots of things going on, and we have this huge data set with over 1 million records that are updated in near real time. We have also created some special or some interactive visualizations. So the data set starts around May 2020, and we can zoom in here and filter out, and we see, okay, here we had 3.8 degrees. Then we had, I don't know, here, that's the PM25. Okay, that's PM, that's not the degrees, okay. So there are two data sets in here. We had the rain and PM, okay, I see. So this is a correlation between the fine dust and the rain. And of course, the hypothesis, the more it rains, the less fine dust we have in the air. And this is maybe one of the possibilities to find out if this correlation holds. That's a question you can try to answer. If you're a statistic hero, then go ahead, use this data set and try to find out if this hypothesis is actually true and holds up. Good. So we've looked at 3 different data sets that I really find cool. Of course, there are, I don't know, 99 others that are really also cool. Just browse in there or ask me what's going on and what other data sets we have that are nice. Good. So the talk is named New Data, New Possibilities. Let's talk about new possibilities. One new possibility in this pandemic, of course, of SARS-CoV-2 or coronavirus is what effects does the coronavirus have on our society? So the statistical department of Basel-Stadt, they created a web page. It's here under Statistik BSC aktuell Corona-Folgen. The link is in here. And there are different aspects outlined here. So employment, there are effects on employment. There are effects on public transport numbers. There are effects on parking spaces. And of course, there are huge numbers of testing, of data around tests and hospitalization and the reproduction value. Then, of course, tourism is also impacted. What happened with tourism? It's really annoying to see this, but you know that's how it is at the moment. And also there are effects on private transport. And here we see, and all these data are based on public. All these analyses are based on public data, and many of them actually use custom-made visualizations hosted on the data part, and they just link it in there as an iframe. So really nice usage of the open data portal here. Good. New possibilities. You know, our job is to create the data sets and to publish the data sets in an open license. Now, actually doing something, this is your turn. Okay. How can we support you with creating or with realizing these possibilities? One way of that I find really cool is in each data set, for example, here for Fallzahlen, if you want to ask questions or discuss something about the data set or clarify something, then we have this comment section where we have a discuss plugin. So people actually use this and say, oh, there was an error here. Why is this here like this? Or yeah, it's a lot going on, big discussion here. And actually people have found out errors in our data set and we had to go back and see what's wrong and found the problem. So really nice discussion here. Yeah, I think it was not in this data set, but in other data sets. So the discussion, one way of reaching out to you and one way of you reaching out to us. So let's see if you have taken a data set from our data portal and analyzed it and created, for example, a blog post or an application or like a podcast. We had somebody talking about our data sets in a podcast, and you have published this to the internet and you want to, then there's an additional channel for you. If you can register your reuse. Actually, this is a reuse of our data. Go to the data set that you used and then register your case, your URL where your publication resides, and register here, and then it's visible under the data sets. So for example, here we have the Baumkataster, which is the collection of all the trees and all the metadata about the trees in Basel. And there were 3 uses, for example, this app, and this is a really cool app, Urban Trees app. They use our data set, and then if you install this on your cell phone, then you have this augmented reality thing. So you can point your cell phone at the tree and the app will show you the metadata of this tree. So how old is it? What's the species? When was it planted? When is it going to be cut down or whatever? All this metadata. So a really cool thing. Reuses. Now, for us, very important, how can we help you? Because we think our idea of working together is we close the gap. On the one side, we have data publishers. In our case, this is organizations within Canton Basel-Stadt that have data and they need and want to publish them. On the other hand, we have you, the data consumers. So you need data for you to solve your business problem or to solve or to help you in your PhD or whatever to answer your question. And our mission is to close this gap. So we bring the two of you, the data publishers and the data consumers together. So please, if you have any idea what you need from us, or you need other open data, you don't know where to find it, or you don't know what you have, whatever, you have any questions related to Basel-Stadt data, then please contact us via Twitter or email, or just give us a plain old telephone call. Good. Now, I think it's up to you. Go create with our data of Basel-Stadt, and please get back to me and to our team if we can help you in anything, if you have problems. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jonas. This was really interesting. I still think it's amazing the kind of granularity that you have in your data, like measurements in minutes and stuff. This is amazing. So we would now have time for questions. And after the questions, if you want to stick around, Dylan, who maybe some of you know, or I know some of you know him, he will also briefly talk about CorrelAid Switzerland and Datacross, which are two organizations that aim to bring the idea of data for good Basel to the next level, so to say. So these are organizations working on bringing data analytics and the good cause together. So stick around for that if you have the time. And now, if you have questions for Jonas, please use the raise hand function. And yeah, we're looking forward to your questions.
You can also unmute yourself and just ask a question. Let me just look at the chat. There was one question by D. Where do we find this reuses section? Is it in every database? Yes, it's in every data set. You go to the information tab and scroll down, and then there's the title reuses. So it's there. To be honest, it's a bit hidden, and that's what we are in the middle of fixing. So we are going to create a big reuses page where all the reuses are put onto one page, so you can see what kind of reuses are there over the whole data portal, and look into that, see screenshots, and get links out to the reuses. So this will be live in a couple of weeks.
Maybe I have a question. Do you have a strategy on which data you publish or which data you give priority to? How does this work? So how do you decide which data you will publish next?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Dominic. Yes, of course, we have a strategy. In the beginning, when we started 2 years ago, we just had to, take what we get. One of our goals is to promote this idea of open government data within the government. So we go to each organization, or actually the aim to go to each organization and find people who are willing and have the data, and find out what they actually have, and show them how we can help them, and why open government data actually helps their cause too. So for example, we had, it's very easy to convince people within government to open up their data if they get something in return. So what we did is we invest some hours into a custom visualization of their data. Once it's in our portal, we can create this custom visualization very simply. It's very easy to code them. And then they can use these to put them in an iframe on their website. So it makes them look better. That's the cool thing. And then with this, we can go ahead and convince people within Canton Basel-Stadt to publish their data. So in the beginning, we just had to take what we could and use the network, the little network that we have. And now we're reaching out over all departments and getting to a bigger network and trying to get more people to understand the advantages of open government data, so we can actually follow the strategy. And the strategy, of course, is what's most important for the consumer and what is most important for the producer. Because, for example, the coronavirus, 1 year ago, nobody talked about coronavirus. And now it's just, yeah, it's a huge topic. We don't need to talk about it. But it's just, I mean, from one day to the other, the whole thing switched, and it was just our mission to put this data out. Of course, because people want to use this, they need to use this, they want to be informed. So this is one one point, what's important for the consumers. On the other side, we have what's important for the producers, because it's also the good thing about open data. It's not only used outside of Canton Basel-Stadt, but also inside. So we have people that publish their open government data to our portal, and then they use our portal to do the analysis that before they did inside with cumbersome Excel sheets, and now it's really much more easy to do in our website. So even internal people actually use these open government data. So to summarize, the strategy definitely is what's best for everybody, for the producers and the consumers. And if nobody actually asks for any data, and we don't see any urgent need, and also it's very cumbersome, and there are like law restrictions, and so this is very low priority. Of course, the high priority are the ones who will have a big impact on the consumer or producer side. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. And I'm looking forward to even more data.
Yes.
In the future.
Yeah. Give me some questions for data if you need to know anything. That's our job here. I really look forward to helping you.
Dylan, you had a question, or is that already answered?
Yeah, no, I was impressed by the open data API. That's something new to me. I hadn't seen that before from you guys. I wanted to ask, was that an in-house initiative, or is that something synchronized with the other open data groups across Switzerland?
The API. The API is actually built into the system that we rent for publishing data. This is a cloud-based system. It's called Open Data Soft, and this is living in Amazon, and it's just part of this whole system, the API. So it is not developed in-house, but we just rent this whole. It's actually a huge Elasticsearch database with some Python backend and some front end in front of it. And we just have our processes and Python code to regularly push this data in there, and the rest is done by the Open Data Soft, by the product itself. Yes, but it's a great API actually, and they just created a new version which is even better, API version 2. So yeah, there's not a lot that you cannot do with it.
Great, thanks, Jonas. Are there further questions from the audience? Just unmute yourself if you want to jump in.
I had one question, like more general about open data. So what do you think what's like the most difficult thing for you as somebody who is trying to publish open data and and make this data available? So what's the most difficult thing in your daily job?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because it's pretty. There are difficulties on every side. I mean, I'm the technical guy, so my main focus is. You've seen we have 107 data sets. So my main focus is to automate everything and to have a reliable API. If I have to do manual work for a data set every week or every couple of days, then I'm just overwhelmed with work and cannot do my job, because my job is to help you guys and to help the producers publish their open data. So the most important and also the hardest part is to do things so that they're automated and they're reliable and everything works all the time. So that's definitely one of the biggest issues that I have to work at every day. If I draw the circle a bit bigger, of course, then it's humans. It's always humans who are in the way. So sometimes people don't think too much and they change their data structure without telling us, and then in our real-time data, it just doesn't work. The process doesn't work anymore. So we have to start up our computer on Sunday night and fix it so that all the consumers can continue working with that. So sometimes we have problems with, people don't know what's going on after they save their data. And, to inform people, to give them somehow the understanding what other systems are all impacted by their change in data. This is also a huge topic. So for example, for the coronavirus data, in Basel, we didn't have this, but other cantons have had this before the Bundesamt für Gesundheit, the Federal Office of Public Health, before they had a nice API, the cantons published the best data, but some cantons had problems from day to day, and they pushed out wrong data, which meant that all the visualizations of NZZ and Tagesanzeiger and Basel Zeitung, they were wrong because they were automatically getting these data. So cases dropped, cases went up, and then, when there's a big error in one of those data sets, then, I don't know, 10 to 20 IT guys and data journalists have to spend a couple of hours to fix this bug and to find workarounds if this happens again. So this is just to inform people what happens with their data. That's also a new thing. So yeah, sometimes we humans are in the way.
You said you are the technical guy. So I'm not sure whether you're the right person to ask, but are you satisfied with the outreach? So do people know about your data portal? Are there many people using it, or do you think it should be better known? Because the data is amazing.
Yeah, that's an open-ended. It's never enough. If you create a video on YouTube and you get, I don't know, 1,000 likes and 100,000 views, that's great. But 200,000 would be better. I think we are pretty well known. So within Switzerland, we're definitely one of the, I don't know, can't say best, but definitely one of the data providers in open data portals that are best known, because we're pretty dynamic and we had a good jump start. We have a great team. There's still lots to do, and I'm definitely not happy yet. I don't know when I'll be happy with the outreach. You can also look actually at how many downloads each data set has and how many API calls, and sort the data sets by this, and you will find out which data sets are used most. If they have most API calls, then probably there are some apps behind it that pull this data every couple of seconds or minutes or whatever. So that's one of the metrics that we look at, which data sets are actually used in the community somewhere. And if you look at some surprising results, there is one data set that has, I don't know, maybe like 100 rows and two columns, a very simple data set that has been used thousands and thousands of times. I don't know why. This is open, so you don't have to register. We don't know why. So that's fun. But to get back to your question, I am happy, but we are nowhere near where we could be. I think the cool thing is that the network of open data providers is growing all the time, also internationally. So we have people from France, from the Netherlands, from the UK, from the US. We have states, we have cities, and all these, we are networking there too. And people are very dynamic and have new ideas, and we can profit so much from each other. It's a great space. And I think all in all, all together, we can bring the community, push the community forward with this. And, make the world a better place in one or two aspects.
I think that would be a great way to introduce what Dylan will talk about, if there are no further questions. Otherwise, I would...
Hi, I'm sorry, just have one quick question. So thank you so much, Jonas, for the interesting presentation. I'm sure it opens a lot of possibilities for more analysis and visualization. So I was just on your website, and obviously all of the data is in German, understandably, but I did see that you have a filter by language. So do you have any plans of making the data available in English for more accessibility, or do you have any plans around that?
Yes, we do have plans. It's just not the highest on our priority list right now. It's just, we have like a priority list of hundreds of items, and it's somewhere in there. And you've seen, if you've seen, we're a team of 3 people, and one of them is an intern, so we're loaded up with work, and this is one of them. And it's, you know, if you think in, or if you experience in translation, it's quite a lot of work. So if, yeah, I of course, if you say, can you please translate this data set because we need it for this, then of course this will reach a higher priority, and we can go ahead and do this for each single data set that you personally need, or that you think would be helpful for other people that you know or other institutions. Currently, we haven't had many requests for translations in other languages, but this may well change. There are definitely plans to do this. First one will be in English, of course, because the audience is also growing. It's not only in Switzerland, but we have access from all over the world. And yeah, English is the first language to go.
Thank you.